Okay, Tov, we're on the top of Lamed Vav Lamed Beis. Lamed Hey, Lamed Vav Lamed Aleph, and that last couple of words, Tom Esther Mosov. So we just mentioned that the Gemara is not the same order as our Mishnah. The Mishnah had spoken about Truma and then about Karbonis, and the Gemara's first thing was about Karbonis and then about Truma. There are such Kisos in the Mishnah. Obviously, the Gemara, at least our Gemara, our printed Gemara had the printed Mishnah had it first Korban and then Truma. So the subject is talking about somebody who is Asr Tabana, and still there are things that he's allowed to do. He's allowed to benefit from somebody that he's not allowed to benefit from. It's not called benefits. We spoke about paying back his debts, Shabbos Aveda, what else is Shakal the Shiklo, and now we continued about taking off Truma for him and bringing Karbonis for him. Just like yesterday, I didn't know the halacha yesterday. The Rambam, at least, the question, the Kohanim, is it our Shluchim or is it the Shluchim of Hashem? And the nafkamina was if he's mother or no, is he allowed to do the Karbonis because is he doing our Shlichus or not? And the Gemara had a couple of rights that they rejected, but one thing that did happen from our Gemara, that the fact that the Mishnah talks about specific Karbonis, Kinei Zov and Kinei Zovos, Kinei Yoldos, Chatos Hashamas maybe also means about a Mitzorah. So the Gemara was leaning that it's not all Karbonis because it is Shluch Didan, and these particular Karbonis don't need das. That was the outline of the Gemara, but I didn't look into it further. But the Rambam does paskin the other way. The Rambam asking that the Kohanim are the Shluchim of Hashem, and therefore he's not being all Karbonis. That the Kohen is not considered the Shliach. I don't know where he gets it from. I didn't look into the Nosa Kalim. He had explained what the Rambam sources, but he does paskin that against the Pashas of our Mishnah, which the Gemara says, I don't know Pashas, but the Gemara says the Diak of the Mishnah that brings specific Karbonis is allowed to bring with the whole Sugya about us. So you would seem that he would not be allowed to bring all Karbonis, but the Rambam does paskin Shluch Shemayim. He says perish Shluch Shemayim, and therefore allowed to bring all Karbonis. I don't know where he gets it from. Now the next figure, it also says in the Mishnah that the one who's asked about no is allowed to do Trumas and Maisros. Is allowed to sort of benefit the owner of the produce by taking off Meiser for him, and it's not considered no. And the Gemara is going to analyze what the Mishnah means. The words of the Mishnah were Dormes Trumas or Masros of Ledato. We'll get to that right in blue. That's going to be the Mishnah. The Gemara is going to bring that into, we'll analyze the Mishnah after we have the question. So it starts top of Lamed Vav on the base. If somebody uses his own produce to become Truma on somebody else's produce, that he wants to be a nice guy, whatever the reason is he's doing it. He has his own tebel. Someone has tebel, 100 kilo of wheat, and he wants to take off his tebel. He wants to take off Truma for the other person. So he takes his own. Let's say he's supposed to take 2%, so we'll take 2 kilo of his own tevel and say this is Truma on Shimon's produce. Is he allowed to do it without informing him? Does he need das? Does he need to inform the owner of the tevel that I'm taking off Truma for you? What are the two studying? Maybe since it's a good thing for him, it's a schus. So you don't have to inform him because he surely wants it. That's what the question explained. He surely wants it. It's like a non-sadi. You do need him to agree, but you don't have to ask him because he surely agrees. Dilma mitzvah delay. Maybe he'd rather do his own mitzvah. If the owner is going to take off, you're chopping away a mitzvah from him. So is the non-sadi that we could say that probably he does want people to take off truma for him, or he'd rather do it himself, even though with his own money, even though he's going to have to spend his own 2 kilo, but he'd rather do it himself than someone else to do it to take away a mitzvah. That's a Gemara's question, like a left field question. Before we get to our Mishnah, is someone allowed to take off Truma for somebody else from his own produce, doing him a favor without informing him? And the Gemara says the two Sadim are, does he surely want it, or maybe he doesn't want it? So the Gemara goes to our Mishnah to bring a proof from our Mishnah, and Naga, we're going to get now an analysis of our Mishnah. It says in our Mishnah, Toshma, Tormes Trumosov Esmasosov Ledato. That's the words of our Mishnah, that the one who's Aser Bana is allowed to tithe for the one who's, how do you say it? The one, if the owner of the produce is not allowed to benefit from somebody, that somebody is allowed to take off truma for him. Ledato. That's what the words are. Ledato. The person who's also to be mahana, the person you're not allowed to benefit from, he's allowed to take off truma. Ledato. Very vague words. The Gemara has all two opposite possibilities what the word ledato means. just to say before, just a preview, before we start, the word Ladato might mean on his own. I translated the Mishnah means that he's doing it with his authorization. And the other possibility was the exact opposite, that sometimes he says he does it on his own, that without asking him, he does it to his own. Who's the above, the Dato, to his das? Who is it? It could mean the one you're doing it for, or it can mean your own. So that's not so clear in the Mishnah. The Gemara is going to try all the possibilities.
Reuven makes it that he's not going to have enough from
Shimon. And now Shimon could come and take off Truma for Reuven. That's the Mishnah. Reuven, again, Reuven is not a lot of benefit from Shimon. Shimon, it says that, Shimon, it says in the Mishnah, he could tithe for Reuven, the Dato. It doesn't say more than that in the Mishnah. You want to know who it is?
Mishalo means
no, the Mishnah, you're going to the Mishnah, or you're going on the question of the Gemara. The question says he wants to use his own. The Torah wants to use his own produce. He'll take his 2 kilos of wheat, of tevel, to be Torah on somebody else's 100. He wants to be generous. He wants to use his own in order to take off Shua for somebody else.
It doesn't have to be the actual.
The only question was if you need his authorization, but more than that you don't need. If he authorizes it, then surely it's good. The only question is if you need his authorization or not. Maybe he wants to do it himself, and he doesn't want you to do it.
If I have 200 kilo,
yeah, that's the case. Yeah, and somebody else, he'll take from his
20
kilos. We're talking about Truma and Meiser. You're saying Meiser also. Yeah, you're right. Truma and Meiser. He's allowed to take from his own.
Oh, I see. Truma to Kavina. Okay, whatever.
Whatever the numbers are,
he
takes his own produce,
not from that 200.
Right, which is also he has to take tevel. But you have to take tevel, of course. You have to take tevel, not chulin. You can't take chulin.
Not chulin.
You have to take tevel. You have tevel. He has tevel. You take your tevel, the amount that he would have to take off, and you make it to be truma.
Okay.
Because he's bothered by you have to do the same level of both quality A of both.
That's the person on his own.
Today would be a problem because it's hard to find the 2 separate things that both of them are about like devil. Today's scenario. Today's
But Rabbi, I'm trying to understand something not sitting well, because this is 200 kilos. We back to 200 kilos of Shimon's. What's it got to do with 2 kilos or 20 kilos or whatever it's going to be?
Because it's tevel. It's not a problem. Not a problem. Inherently, allowed to do it. It's no problem. Take it from somebody else's. The only question, that's not an issue. It's not an issue. No one has an issue about that. The only issue is if he gives permission to do that. Maybe he wants to do it himself. Don't take away my mitzvah. I want to do it myself. But besides that, if you say yes, you can go ahead and do it, then it's not. The Gemara has no issue about it. The only issue the Gemara has is only if you could do it without asking him. Do you assume that it's surely happy? You got a favor. You got for free. Someone's doing the service, and someone's giving him the. But you have to have the authorization. Maybe he doesn't want you to do it.
I want to give away from my own 2 kilos.
Dafka, in order to get a mitzvah. So that's more question.
It's like his tevel is going to be going on his friend's tevel.
Right, and it's going to become truma.
And it'll become whatever.
And then the friends will become all chulin.
But the Gemara is talking about that they know that he made the nether of not having enough.
The question of the Gemara is not doing a nether. It's not a question.
So it's still
not doing a nether. I'm going to bring a right from our mission which talks about a nether.
Okay, so so this story is nothing to do with that. Can I just do a favor to my body and do it like that?
I pass by, let's say, a field. I know that he's not Shomer Torah mitzvahs, and he's going to be tevel, him and his friends and his family, and he's going to sell it. I want to be a big tzaddik. I take my own and I take off on his, and I don't tell him. Do I assume that he's happy, or do I assume that maybe the case I said is not so good? He wants to do the mitzvah by himself. If somebody's not going to do the mitzvah, probably it's not a question because he should be happy. Maybe he's not happy for other reasons. He doesn't want to do for other reasons. But this is the way the Gemara is talking about laws. It's the Torah observant Jews. Do I assume that he's happy that I'm doing it for him, or do I assume that he's not happy that I'm doing it for him? He doesn't want me to, he wants to do it himself. He wants to get a mitzvah himself.
Yesterday we said there's only 3.
You're talking about karbanos. I was talking about Truma. That's the definition. Tashma. So it goes to our Mishnah. Mishnah says that the one who's usher to benefit from, he's allowed to take off Truma ledato. The one is not sure what the word ledato means. We'll see soon. But first of all, I want to know when he's taking Trumas and Maestros, whose produce is he using? He's using his let's say Reuven and Shimon. Reuven's not allowed to benefit from Shimon. Is Shimon and Shimon's allowed to take off tithe for him? Reuven is Shimon using Reuven's produce? I'm not taking mine. I'll take yours. He wants to take the Reuven's produce and tithe it for him. His produce on his produce. Is that the case? The cream means the pile of tuah, the barn over there, the silo owner for the silo owner, he's gonna take from his, and I'll just do the service of tithing it for him. And then according to that shot, what is the word ledato gonna mean? I'm gonna use his for his. It just means I'm allowed to do it myself. I'm allowed to take yours on yours, on my own das, without asking permission. Man shavi shliach. Who made you? Surely you can't. You can't. That the Gemara holds for sure. You can't be tied from somebody. It's not your money. It's not yours. Surely you can't. Even in the money, even in the monetary laws, you shouldn't be able to take his produce on his produce without asking him, because who gave you permission to do that?
One for sure can't, Meiser can't take from his own produce.
His own meaning, the word his own has
I
to be.
mean, from the guy who. owns
Right,
the-
right. I can't, Reuben, let's say whatever, we have to keep it consistent with the names, that Shimon won't be able to tithe Reuben's produce from Reuben's produce without asking him. The whole question we had is only Shimon's taking his own produce. That's the real question. But to take Reuben's produce from without asking him, surely not. Ella ladato the balakrit, and then Mishnah give me the opposite. When it says ladato, it doesn't mean he's doing it on his own. It means Shimon is doing it with the authorization of the owner of Reuben, and that's what the Mishnah means to say, that Shimon, the one who's not supposed to being given benefit, he's allowed to tithe Reuben's produce from Shimon's produce, and it says, I'm sorry, still holding there. If I'm sorry, I jumped. The Gemara is still going in the thought that it means he's taking Reuben from Reuben's produce from Reuben's produce with his permission. That surely can't be with his authorization, because the Balakri, no. He's doing his command. He's doing following orders. Following orders that the Gemara is pushing to the Gemara that you're not allowed to do. That's considered a benefit. You follow somebody gives you order. Someone gave an order, and you listen to him. So that's surely considered a hana. That my command was followed. And the Gemara yesterday also had the issue about the kavanas, that if you need a shlichus, if someone's doing your shlichus, that's considered a hana. So the Gemara knocked out that the Mishnah cannot mean that the Shimon is taking from Reuben's on Reuben's, because he can't do it without permission, and he can't do it with permission. He can't do it without permission, because who's he to touch somebody else's stuff? You have no permission to do that. And if you have permission, permission means authorization. He told you, please do it. So if he said, please do it, so you're giving you orders. And if he's since also bana, so then he's not, Reuben's not allowed to benefit from Shimon. If Reuben told Shimon, do it for me, and Shimon does it, that's surely awesome. So
Even-
that
even
can't,
like
we
being
have
a
no shot in
shliach.
Mishnah yet. What?
If he's a shliach of Reuben's.
Then it's awesome, because he's benefiting.
That's hana.
That's not no. So far we don't have no shot in the Mishnah.
How do you read this? How come it has to?
He's benefiting him. He's doing his orders. He's doing his agents. He's doing his orders. So the Mishnah must be talking about Ella Mishalo al Shal Balakri. The Mishnah is only talking about that it says you could tithe from your own. Shimon could take his own produce to tithe for Reuben. But now we have to figure out when it says Lodato, what does the word Lodato mean? Is it doing it on his own, or is it doing it with permission?
I'm sorry, Balakri is Reuben, isn't it?
Yes. So the question is Mishalo or Shal Balakri? That Mishalo, the point is Mishalo. That Shimon is taking from his own food
Shimon's
on
Reuben's.
Reuben. Right.
Ah.
And then the question is the Lodato the man. What does the Mishnah mean when it says Lodato? There are two choices, two opposite choices. If it means again that he told him, take off, I authorize you to take off from yours on mine. So then again, that's again, he's giving him orders, and he's listening to the orders. He's giving a shlichus. So again, it can't be. So it must be a process of elimination. We had four choices. We eliminated 3 out of the 4. We're left with this one case that Shimon is taking from his own on Reuben's without permission. And that's why it's not considered that he's following orders, no hana. But you do see that that's a good truma. There's some extra words over here. I think it's point. You see that you could do it. It says it again. If you have to, it's repetitious. That if you have to have permission, we said it already. That it can't be talking about that he authorized him because it'd be considered hana. That's the Gemara's right from the Mishnah. Process of elimination. Our Mishnah says that Shimon could tithe for Reuben. It must be talking about that he's taking from his own. And it must be talking about that he's doing it without permission.
Right.
Can you just translate again? I have the date de nafshe.
It must be doing it on his own. The Mishnah says Ladato means you could tithe Shimon could tithe Reuben's from Shimon's. He could take his own, and he could take his own produce and do it for Reuben without asking. Without getting authorization. The words after that are repetitive. It says it again, the same thing. But that's the proof. You say, you can take out these words if you
I
want.
see, Mishnah.
Take out these words. That's okay. We said we really said that already. Also, a lot of extra words. So the Gersos will take out some words. But the point is that the Mishnah must be talking about that Shimon is allowed to take from his own produce on Ruvain's without asking him. And that was our question. The question in the beginning was that could you have to have his permission or not? So in our Mishnah, the Gemara figured out that it's saying this case. The Mishnah is really interested about the Mudar Hana, but what do you see? The case is talking about that he's doing it without permission. So you see that you could do it. The Gemara says no. I could reflect the proof. It could be the Mishnah talking about that Shimon is taking Ruvain's on Ruvain's. He's not taking his own. And it's true that you do need. How could you touch anybody else's stuff? How could you touch his stuff without getting permission? He has permission, but it's still not called the shlichus. That's what we're looking for. That'll be the solution, to find that he has permission to do it, but he's not following orders. How is that? That he gave general permission. No one's following his orders. He didn't give anybody an order. He just said, whoever wants to, I give permission. I have whoever wants to be Torah may come and be Torah. Whoever wants to do truma for me, for my produce. I have here a pile of tevel, and has to be tied. Whoever come make an announcement, whoever wants to be told could be told. I authorize anybody, but I'm not giving anybody orders.
But
the whole question was, by as far as there are two questions going on. One is if it's possible to work in Hilchos Trumas and Maestros. The other one is the call that you're benefiting him in Hilchos nedarim if you're a person who's not allowed to benefit him. So the Gemara had a thought that it must be that he didn't authorize you. If he authorized you, it would be aseh for nedarim. So he didn't authorize you. So and you're still doing it. That means that in Hilchos Trumas it passes that you're allowed to be told somebody else without asking him. That was the Gemara's proof. The Gemara says, I'll find you a case that has permission to do it without being ordered. He's not following orders. That he said, the owner says, Ruvain says, whoever wants to be told can be Torah. He puts a sign outside, whoever wants to be told can be Torah. I'm not interested in doing the mitzvah. Whoever wants to do it for me to do it.
Nicer. Okay. He said, I'm too busy.
Emergency, whatever. And
whoever wants
to make, I want to be Mizaka people with mitzvahs, whatever his cheshbon is, he says, I allow anybody to do it.
With his own product.
With his own produce. You may take 2%. Take 2% from my.
That's the reason. That's the answer to what we asked at the top of the page.
No, the Gemara thought they had an answer that you may, without permission. The question was not a case where he gave permission.
We asked if you could do that
without permission. So the Gemara thought had a right that our mission must be without permission, because if you were permission means authorization. Yeah. Authorization means an order. Say it can't be. It must be without. Must said no. I have a case of permission without orders.
But this is still an outside case, right? It's not has nothing to do with nedarim. Because if it were nedarim, how could he say anybody? Because he knows somebody he's not allowed to get hana from. He said,
I didn't get enough from him. What enough did I get from him?
You could include the guy that.
Yes, it is. That's what we're talking about. The Gemara is saying, Rabbi is suggesting Pshat in our Mishnah is talking about that he made an announcement, whoever wants to may, and that's the case that Shimon could come and be that person. And he's not giving him hana because it's not something you pay for, so it's not worth money. And I'm not following orders. There's no orders. There's just permission.
It's
not a shliach. Right.
It's not a shliach.
And it's not. And the fact that I made his produce permissible, that's not considered hana.
And so he could do it and not get hana.
Right. But the more I thought that it had a proof on the side issue over here that he could do it without permission. That the Gemara says you don't have a right. There was permission, but there wasn't an order. So we got out of the right. So we don't know. The Gemara comes out. We don't know. We don't know the answer to the question. Could it be so if you're doing from yours and somebody else's, do you need his permission? Or you could assume that he have his permission because probably wants it, or he probably doesn't want it. We don't know the answer to that question. We thought he had a right from our Mishnah. There's no right. In the halacha, we paskin that you could assume that he wants you to do it. Right. It's not called that I want to do the mitzvah myself. We could assume that he's happy if somebody does it. That's how it says in the halacha. I don't know where to get it from. Our Gemara seems to deflect the proof. The Gemara thought it had a proof, and the Gemara deflects the proof.
At what point does Reuben know that Shimon actually took the right amount of truma and was makayim the mitzvah?
He leaves a note over there.
He leaves a note.
Or he saw him doing it.
And that's.
Whatever you want, like, he saw.
In that transaction.
No, that's what he says the whole time, that the fact that it got tied is not considered a no. That's the olive base of the Mishnah. That's the Mishnah. That's really what the Mishnah is saying. The rest of it is side points. And the Gemara wants to know the side points. But the issue of the Mishnah is to say that the fact that he tied my produce, that's not considered a benefit.
And there isn't any difference in which part of the creed he takes in terms of halacha. So Reuven wouldn't be upset. Well, why'd you take from the north corner? I would have taken from the south. You can't.
It's all the same. It's all
the same. Yeah.
But new question. Which we don't want, that's the same case we spoke about. That Shimon's using his own in order to take off truma for Reuven. He's doing him a favor. And we just spoke about if he has to have permission or not. Who has the right, the decision of who to give the truma to? Shimon took his own 2 kilo to make a truma for Reuven. And now there's truma. He has 2 kilo.
Yeah, I thought it meant that he's leaving a note. This is truma.
And do with it what you want. Maybe
Reuven has to do what he wants.
maybe Shimon just leaves a note that your
It's all taken care of, and I gave it to my favorite Cohen, the uncle.
Right. Right. So that's the question. Whose the decision is it? Who gets the truma? And it's called Tovas Hano because the person who gives it has a benefit that the Kohen, even though he didn't give him a present, it's not mamash a present, that whole 2 kilo. What's that? But
Who's paying?
yeah, that's finish the Gemara. That Tovas Hano means that how much is it worth to you that you're able to give the truma? Of course, he doesn't have a curse of to you for giving you 2 kilo because you had to give the 2 kilo to somebody. But he does have appreciation, gave it to him instead of somebody else. And that's worth money. That's it's even worth money. So who is
The
it?
question is who has the right to distribute the truma, right?
Right.
So since I'm doing for my friend, and it's from my.
So surely you have the first. The Mars two study. Ila peri deheich mi metakna karya dehahu. That Shimon, the one who took off from his own produce, the truma, he says, if not for mine, then your kri wouldn't have been good. So you wouldn't have. It means, of course, I have the right. It's my produce, and I'm the one who's helping out over here. Yeah, like if isn't it mine that it's my food, it's my produce, the 2 kilo that I used in order to fix up your kri. So isn't it my privilege to give it to who I want to? Oh, Dilma, ilav karya dahu lahavian peri dadein truma. It wouldn't be truma. The Shimon's 2 kilo wouldn't be truma unless he would have the 100 kilo over there.
2 grams of truma instead. There will be 2 grams of truma.
Say those, and I would have
2 kilo.
But what the king did, then I would have regular 2 kilo. That's even more worth more money.
Right. So the question is, what is the benefit that is truma? He's saying that I should have the privilege to give it to I. Who's saying? Reuven. Reuven is saying I should have the privilege because if not for my 100 kilo, then 2 kilo wouldn't be truma. So I should have the privilege. So Shimon looks at him, and if I would not have done you the favor of truma, so what would have I had? I could have given my present that I wanted to the Kohen without making it truma. Is there any? The Gemara has a thought that I'm doing.
You would have had to take truma.
So the answer l'chora is that it would have been tevel. Reuven tells Shimon that your 2 kilo would have been tevel. It isn't the fact that it's truma and you're giving the whole 2 kilo is only because I allowed you or you utilized my 100 kilo of tevel that your 2 kilo should become truma. But if you wouldn't have had mine, you just would have had 2 kilo of tevel, you would have had to tithe that, and you wouldn't have been able to give him the whole 2 kilo.
Say that 1.9
Okay.
much is of chulin is worth them more than 2 tevel.
Taking sizes.
So
So
we touched it.
the Gemara holds it. I don't know. The Gemara gives two studies. One side is that Shimon says, if not for my 2 kilo, then everything would be a mess. Tevel, you wouldn't be able to give anything.
Yeah, other side.
And the other side is that Reuven tells Shimon that if not for my 100 kilo of tevel, then your 2 kilo wouldn't become truma. You want to give truma to a Kohen. It wouldn't have been truma. It would have been tevel. That's what you said a second ago. That it would. Reuven tells to Shimon that if not for my 100 kilo, then your 2 kilo wouldn't have been truma. That's the most two sides of the question of Yirmiyah asked Rav Zera. Amalei, Rav Zera said, Amakra, it's called to this question about the pasuk is over here. Some of a different girsa, but he brought a pasuk as called to was Arecha ben Nasata. Of course, it's not one pasuk like that. There's some words in between, but the Gemara's drush is that it goes on the one who owns the produce, means Reuven. The Gemara takes the opposite of what everybody wants to say. the Gemara, the observer takes the side that the owner of the Kri, it's his decision, his privilege to give it who he wants to. Because the owner, whatever the pasuk is mashma, the one who gives, the giver, the benasata is the one who belongs to, who the tvua belong to, the tevel belong to.
Because it's zeracha.
And then benasata, you, right, the tvua zarecha, it's not so clear if that's the pasuk, it could be tvua sacha. Question what the pasuk is, but based on the pasuk that says your grain, you give, and then give it to the Kohen, to the Levi. So that's mashma that the one who the tevel belongs to, that's the one who has the right to give it.
Okay.
And the Gemara has a kasha from our Mishnah.
The one that's separated.
No, the one who the 100
two
kilo
tevels
Reuben,
here.
the one. What?
There's two tables.
Yeah, I mean the tevel that was fixed up, not the one that's becoming truma. It isn't the point of the one that's truma. The one that has the truma at the end. The one whose produce was fixed up. The one who had the Reuben, which is opposite, counterintuitive.
How do you
I
get
think,
that from Nasata?
because that's not means you give. Who's you? The one we're talking
The
to.
one that had all the.
The one who we're talking to and saying that you should tithe your stuff. Tithe
You
your
should
stuff.
give, I see, and you should give, so. Mhm.
Your grain, tithe your grain and give. So your grain part is the one that we say you should give.
So it's the second side.
Right. The second side
I
is.
thought the first side was like.
one second,
Shimon
about
should
carry
give,
the
say,
who.
well, it was my.
That's the first.
Shimon's
One second. The first, in the order of the Gemara, it's the
Yeah,
first
okay.
side that Reuben gets it. The first side of the Gemara was that Reuben gets it, the owner of the Kri, and the second side was that Shimon gets it. Everybody took the second side, and the Gemara takes the first side. The first side was that Reuben says, if not for my pile of 100 kilo, then did I say it wrong? I'm sorry, you're right, I got mixed up.
You said
But you're right. The first side was that
that Shimon.
Shimon, second side is Reuben, the Gemara is right, I got mixed up.
Okay.
And the Gemara says like the second side, but it's based on a pasuk, that the one whose Kri is being fixed up, he's the one who has the right to give it. The Gemara is a kasha of my Mishnah, and we'll do it outside. The Gemara, we had to bury two pshatim in our Mishnah. What is the Mishnah saying? But if you take the pashas again, that the Mishnah is saying that Shimon is taken from his own on Reuven's, and according to that, the Gemara said that it means he's doing without permission. The Gemara had that side before also. So it's not considered enough, but the Gemara is throwing in a new issue, a new factor into the whole puzzle. If Shimon is the one, if Reuven is the one who has the right to give the truma to who he wants to, so he's benefiting. Again, Shimon tied Reuven's produce from Shimon's own, from Shimon's.
Yeah.
And we say it's not, he didn't get orders. What's that? He didn't get orders. He did it on his own. Shimon took his own to tie Reuven's produce, and he didn't ask permission. And it's not considered a benefit, the fact that your produce is tied. But if you say that Reuven is the one who has the privilege of who to give the truma to, so that's a privilege. So you should not allow him to Shimon to do it, because he's giving Reuven the privilege of giving truma to whoever he wants to, which is worth money. Anyway, our Mishnah, and we finished. Well, not we finished. We went through the sugi before that. We tried to figure out that Shimon is doing it from his own on Reuven's without permission. If you say that Reuven, the one who owns the Kri, he's the one who has the privilege to give it to who he wants to. He's getting benefit that now he can give the truma to whoever he wants to. You see that it must be the Shimon's privilege to give it to who he wants to. So Reuven didn't get this privilege. The Gemara says no. And the Gemara is going to say, well, we answered already before. We said it's not about the Mishnah is talking about Shimon's taking from his own. It could be Shimon's taking from Reuven's, and he just gave a general permission, whoever wants to do it, no orders, but permission. That's not what the Gemara says now. Michelle, they said, no, Michelle Balakri, I'll show Balakri. The Mishnah is talking about that you're taking from Reuven's on Reuven's. Uludato the Balakri, and Uludato means that the Balakri, the owner, Reuven, is the one who is giving permission. And the question was, how can he give permission? If he's giving permission, he's giving an order. The answer is no. That he didn't give an order, he just gave a permission. So it's no right to this either. So the Gemara has no right to this question still. So Abzera said that Reuven, the Balakri, he's the one who has the privilege of giving it to who he wants to, and it's not right from our Mishnah, because the Mishnah might mean that it's talking about taking from Reuven's on Reuven's, not from taking from Shimon's on Reuven's. So no proof. Tashma, we try further to get a proof.
And there's no hana, because he always, even if he did it himself, he'd be able to get to what he wanted. So what we're saying.
if the case is that
I
it's
got the
taken
part
from
about
Reuben's and
maybe he's
Reuben's,
getting hana because he can give it to whatever cone he wants, and I said, no, maybe it came from his tree. That's not what we're saying.
he didn't get anything from his, if he do it himself, he also would, he didn't get
give it to
anything.
He didn't get anything. If it's from his tree, then he gives it to whatever cone. He
And
didn't
that's not,
gain anything.
right.
Yeah, that's
Only
the answer.
Only
right?
if, right, that's the answer. That it's talking about that Reuven on Reuven, and the fact that he can give it to somebody, of course he can give it to somebody, it's his own. That wouldn't be the kasha. The kasha only was that Shimon is giving him 2 kilos of Tovas Hana.
But we didn't answer if it comes from Shimon's.
If it comes from Shimon, that would be a good proof, but we said it's not a proof. We said the Mishnah is talking about from Shimon, it's coming
Oh, I
from
see, I
Reuven.
see. Okay.
So it's no proof. Tashma, but the Gemara does bring a proof, not with a, that's an open statement. If Yochanan says, Tashma, Dam, Rabba, Bama, Rabba Yochanan. So there is some things over here that we could put in parentheses, it's not our issue, but it's nice to see it anyway. But this is not going to be the main issue.
This is a Bryson.
No, it's Rabbi Yochanan. Dam, Rabba, Bama, Rabba Yochanan. So we get two bonuses over here. Hamaktish Mosel Chomesh and Moskapa Osa Tamura. We'll get there in a second. But just to get to the main issue, Torem, Shalo, Sheinu Shalo, Tovasano Shalo. Open word for word what we're looking for. That if Shimon takes off Shimon from his own for Reuben, Shimon has the privilege to give it to who he wants to. Like that was the everybody's initial reaction. That was so it should be. And he says so. He doesn't say any reason. Everybody's happy that the halacha is that Shimon is the one who has the privilege to give it to who he wants to.
Which is intuitive. It's not.
That's right. That's intuitive. Just to fill in the parentheses, Rabbi Yochanan said another two halachas that are not relative to us. Hamaktish Mosaf Chomesh and Moskapa Osa Tamura. There's a halacha that if the owner is someone who's maktish something, he consecrated something, and now he wants to be poded, he has to give the value plus a fifth. If someone else, if an outsider is going to be poded, he doesn't have to give a fifth. Only the one who consecrated it. But the issue would be, how about if you consecrated it for somebody else? Somebody made
the hamakdish means that you're going to then redeem it. Is that what you said?
maktish means you consecrated it, but the case is that when you want, the case is most of the chomesh means when you want to redeem it, you have to add on a fifth.
Okay.
So now we know that halacha, but the issue is here that there's also a miskaper. There's a maktish and a miskaper.
And all of these three cases are Mishalal Sheinu Shalom. Is that the?
No. You want to say that that's the point.
I don't know.
It's called this. You see, the common denominator is maybe that's nice. He's saying probably nice. Probably yes, that's true. The Mishnah, Rabbi Yochanan, thank you. Rabbi Yochanan didn't just put these two halachas together. It's the case where one person is doing for somebody else. The first case was a makdish that a person is consecrating a korban for his friend. Usually, the makdish is the owner of the korban. He's the owner. He's the one who's getting the use of the korban. He's going to bring it for himself. He's the makdish and the miskaper. And the halacha would be that if he redeems it, he has to add on a fifth. And also the din of Tamura. Tamura means when a person says on a korban that the other korban, another animal should be like this, only the owner of the korban has the right to do that. If a stranger comes over and says that this is like that, it doesn't become Tamura. So here the question is when there's two different people, usually it's the same person. Usually it's usually both hats on the same person. He's both the makdish and the miskaper. It means he consecrates a korban for himself. But here, if you divided it, that one person is the makdish, one person is the miskaper. So how does it play out as far as these two halachas of adding on the chomesh, if it has to be redeemed, or making it tamura, that you're not allowed to do, but if tamura works, even if you know you're not allowed to do it. So here it says that there's a difference. As far as the most of chomesh, it depends on the one who's makdish it, not on the one who it's made for, not the miskaper. But as far as making tamura, it depends on the miskaper, not on the one who was makdish it. And now,
what is making tomorrow? You're saying you're
making tamura means
about different animal?
Right, he has two animals, then he says the korban, it says on the chulin animal, it should be the same. He says that this chulin animal should be the same status as the korban. It becomes the same status, but he's not allowed to do it. It's avera to do it. But if you do it,
So
it
it's made it.
it's right. It's right. It becomes a korban. It becomes a korban.
And
And then there's a whole masech tamur. What do you do with that?
I mean, he could have makdished it, but instead he just did it.
Right, makdish would be great, but he makdish it, but he made tamura. He said this is instead of that.
Instead.
So, but instead,
instead, to exchange it, and then they're
not what?
Not zekazeh. Dinus is zekazeh.
You're right. Zeh tamura zeh.
he thought that he was exchanging it. This
Right.
animal will become.
Well, yeah, that doesn't
wrong,
that
and
doesn't
then
go
they
off. It doesn't go off the kedusha, and it goes on to the other
And
one.
the makap.
Thank you for that correction.
The
The miskaper, he's the one who is the owner as far as this
Like, let's
halacha.
say Reuven.
Reuven, he's the one. Reuven was Shimon was
did
makdish
force
a korban for Reuven.
Yeah.
So Shimon is not the one who has the ability to do tamura. Reuven is the one who has the ability to do tamura. Not that ability means you're allowed to do it. You're not allowed to do tamura.
I
But
see.
who has the ability to do tamura? Only the bala korban. Who's the bala korban? The one who it's dedicated for, not the one who consecrated it. That was the side point. And our point is that when someone's Torah for somebody else, Shimon is Torah from his own on Reuven, Shimon has the right to give it to who he wants to. New sugya, back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that the person, he said about he's allowed to bring the korbanos for him, and he's allowed to tithe for him, and he's allowed to teach him. That's the Mishnah. So Reuven, who's we talking about the whole time? Reuven's not allowed to benefit from Shimon, but Shimon is a teacher. So Shimon is allowed to teach Reuven, Medrash, Halachas Agados, and it seems to be Torah Shabbat. But he cannot teach him Mikra. Why not? What's the difference? That's going to be the Gemara. What's the difference? It also continues, the Mishnah continues that he's allowed to teach Reuven's son and daughter Mikra, even Mikra, even though he's not allowed to teach Reuven, but he's allowed to teach Reuven's son. So the one wants to know what's the difference between, let's call it Torah Shabbat, Torah Shabbat. What's the difference? Medrash, Halachas, Agadas, Mishnah is whatever is included in Torah Shabbat. Mikra, my time then. Why not? How come Mikra not? I think Mar says we understand. You shouldn't come on because it's benefiting. What's he benefiting?
I don't know.
When-
I would learn the other way around. I would learn that learning the Torah Shabbat Pei, I'm learning halacha.
How come you're not allowed to? Besides what you were saying, besides what you want to say, what does it say? It says, I don't understand why he's not allowed to teach him Mikra because he's benefiting. What is he benefiting?
He's learning.
So I would think he's learning. Like, what does it mean then? The
He can
Gemara
teach-
does
now
not.
he can teach it? No, he's not allowed.
The
to
Gemara
get money.
says that because it's benefiting money. The Gemara does sees the money part. That's no time.
What's the benefiting
no.
money? Oh, he would have
Because
to
it costs
pay
money.
some-
It costs money to get a teacher. So that's the Gemara's understanding. The only reason is because of money. So what's the difference? Then Medrash also he's benefiting by saving money. If he'd have to pay to get somebody to teach him Mikra, that's why he's benefiting. Like he's getting taught for free. So then Medrash Nami come on anyway. So he's benefiting from if the teacher's going to teach him Torah Shabbat Peh. Also, he's benefiting. What's the difference? The more does sees that the money is has to be translated into money.
They have the Mikra and
And
Medrash and halacha in terms of payment.
Right.
You're not allowed to get
The Gemara doesn't know you're not allowed.
Torah Shabbat Pei,
The Gemara doesn't, you know everything. The Gemara doesn't know it yet. The Gemara is starting it from scratch. If you're getting paid, it's like any job, you get paid. So what's the difference? It's talking about a place that they do charge for teaching Mikra, but they don't charge for teaching Medrash. It doesn't say that you're allowed to, you're not allowed to so far. It just says that a place where they do take money for teaching Mikra, and they don't take money for teaching Medrash. A Medrash, or it's called Torah Shabbat Peh, there's no benefit, there's no monetary benefit because it's not worth money, because you get it without money. But you don't charge money over there. You have to just get somebody to teach you, but it doesn't cost money. But they do charge money for Mikra, and you're getting it for free, so you're benefiting money. But my Pascha, like Vasepis, how come there's so much such a place? If it just say it happens to be a Maniga Mokam, so then it could be an opposite also. Could have said a place where they take money for Medrash, they don't take it for Mikra. What it must be that there's something behind the scenes. And now comes what Chaim David was saying. Next page. How come Ashwan that feel Mokam Shanotan Schala Mikra? Thank you. 1 second. Yeah, let's put it in here. Notan Schar. Kama. Ala Mikra Shavilim Mishkan. Ala Medrash Lo Shavilim Mishkan. It's going to tell you that even in a place where they do take money, it's only what to take money for Mikra, but it's not money what to take money for Torah Shabbat Peh. Now we're getting into the sugya of Mutter and Asr. And the Ran says that you see from the Gemara that it's not preferable, it's not great to take money for anything. But even in a place where they do take money, you only can take money for Mikra, you can't take money for Medrash. Medrash meaning Torah Shabbat Peh. So they can't be such. They can't be. That's why the Mishnah. That's why
this was the Metzius in the world.
The Metzius. First, this is the halacha, and the Metzius is going to be that there were some places that were machmir. I'm sorry.
No,
there were some places that were.
Places that they took money, and some places they didn't, and then really the Metzius in the world was that was only for the Mikra.
Just to make it a little, I think to make it clearer is that what's asr is asr every place. What's mutter. Some people did what's mutter, and some people were machmir. So here it's saying that Torah Shabbat Peh you're not allowed to take money for.
And
So
nobody
no
does.
place, but
And nobody does.
and nobody does because you're not allowed to. Nobody takes money for Torah Shabbat Peh. But Torah Shabbat Iksav inherently is mutter. So therefore, there are some places that do, and this is such a place. There are some places that don't, and that seems to be like a nice minhag. It's a chumrah, and the Ran says the chumrah will be because if you take money for Mikra, you might start taking Mikra money for Medrash also. That was like a chumrah people made, and some places don't take money for anything. And in that place, it's true, you'd be able to teach Mikra also, because it doesn't cost any money. So I'm not benefiting any monetary gain from him. But the Mishnah is talking about a place where they did halacha. They weren't machmer. They did halacha, and they took money for mikra. They didn't take money for midrash, Mishnah, Torah Shabbat. And now the Gemara goes into this again. Are you allowed to take money for teaching? And the Gemara says, what's the difference? Ma'ishna medrash the law. How come you're not allowed to take money for Torah Shabbat? And it's going to bring a pasuk and whatever the drash is going to be, and the Gemara is going to say, so Torah mikra is just as much Torah as midrash. Why are you not allowed to take money? So it brings two psukim over here. I'm not sure what the drash is. It says, one pasuk says, Moshe Rabbeinu is talking. He says, Hashem commanded me at that time to teach you. Another pasuk says that I taught you the way I was commanded. That you see, to Am Yisrael, I taught you the laws the way Hashem commanded me. So it brings two psukim. One they say more or less the same thing. One of them says that Hashem commanded me to teach you, and the other pasuk says I taught you the way I was commanded. But there's some drash over here that I don't know what it is exactly. Mani bechinam apatem nami bechinam. That's supposed to be the source from this pasuk or psukim, that just like Moshe Rabbeinu was talking, just like I taught for free, so too you teach for free. And I don't know what the drash is.
Why?
I don't see what the drash and the words are.
Oh, because of the pasuk you're saying?
It says something that means a pasuk. It says it means a pasuk. I don't see what the pasuk
The
is.
pasuk is trying to show that he didn't get money for it.
Do you see he didn't get money? I mean, if the Mefarshim explain that Hashem taught Moshe, I don't see how it fits into the drash or the pasukim, that Hashem taught Moshe for free.
But he also
And Moshe, there's something here, Hashem to Moshe, Moshe to Am Yisrael further. Those are the three factors that we have.
Maybe it's
So something is supposed to be a source that it was for free, and you have to continue doing it like for free. And ma'atem, atem nami bechinam, what is the ma'atem that you also should teach for free? Ani is the Moshe Rabbeinu. What do you see in the pasuk? I don't get the drash. I didn't say. I saw it before Shemir, but I didn't understand it.
I'm chayav to do it, and even with no pay.
But there's
a tzivur.
Yeah, but there's
there's
something amount. So then you have your own drasha, but the Gemara says
You're saying that you're obligated to
do Hashem's will, and
So is it
without
you're saying your own drasha. You're not saying this.
I'm trying to see it in the words. I see no other way of reading.
But the Gemara says hekesh, man, just like I bechinam, so to you bechinam. That's not what you said. You didn't say that.
But I'm learning.
You're saying the drasha and the
I'm assuming that because of Hashem commanded me.
But it's nothing to do with, yeah, but it's nothing to do with what the Gemara says. Mani bechinam, afatanami bechinam. You're saying a different drasha. Tzivui, you have to do because you're commanded, not because you're taking money. That's your own drasha.
Yeah.
Very nice, but the Gemara doesn't say it. The Gemara says mani bechinam, afatanami bechinam. So I don't know how to. I don't see that in the pasuk.
I'm trying to understand why he says a kashet sivani.
Yeah, I understand. I agree. I am assigning that. Yeah, but I'm reading the Gemara. So I'm just saying that you're saying your own. You put it on the side, but it doesn't seem to be the Gemara's explanation. Mani b'chinam afatanami b'chinam. So I don't have a pshat.
But OC in the pasuk is like from et
Moshe
to me. What is OC?
and me.
And me, Hashem.
And
me, I'm
me,
the object
Hashem,
of who he
and I,
commanded.
Hashem commanded at that time to teach you.
Mhm.
So the pasuk says, "See, I taught you the laws the way Hashem commanded me." There's a mashmos over here that some say, but I don't see it in the Gemara, that it says that I taught you the same way Hashem commanded, not that Hashem commanded, Hashem taught me. The same way Hashem taught me, I taught you. I don't see it in the word Sivani, and I don't see it in the Gemara's explanation. Mani bechinam apatem nami bechinam. Then it should have said that Hashem, it should have said just like I learned it, so too did I teach it, bechinam. But mani bechinam, I don't see it, I don't know. Everyone crosses the mind.
Quran is saying that Kasher Sivani Hashem lelamed bechinam.
Kasher Sivan.
That
How do you know?
Hashem free.
If you know, how do you know?
The Ryan goes through a thing that it has to be that he was taught bechinam, because otherwise we don't need an extra process.
I'm missing some. So what do you see? Kasher Sivan means what?
Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, "Mani b'chinam afatanami."
On his own, nothing to do with the
I
pasuk.
think so.
Okay, so I don't see it. I know it's.
What about
it's not so.
the Perkei Avos? Does it help us? It says Alta Bori Hashem.
No, we're not saying a drash. We're not saying other reason. If you want to say that's the way it is, that's the way it is. But here it says that there's a drash. I don't know what the drash is. It says halacha. That's the halacha. And I'm going further now. I don't know how to read the Gemara, but the Gemara said a drash. I don't know what the drash is. You're saying other sources that it says let's say. I'm not going into that other source if it's a good source or not, but the Gemara says this is the source. And we're gonna go further. I'm saying I don't understand how to read the Gemara. I don't know what the drush is. But the Gemara's kasha is, whatever the source is that you're not allowed to teach Torah, you're not allowed to take money for Torah Shabbat Peh, you're not allowed to take Torah for Torah Shabbat Sav also. Mikunami b'chinam. How does it read? Ma'ishna medrash the law. All this. So mikunami b'chinam. That's the kasha. There shouldn't be a difference between Torah Shabbat Sav, Torah Shabbat Peh. Whatever the drush is that you're not allowed to take money for teaching, you're not allowed to take money for teaching Torah Shabbat Sav also. And yesterday said even more so. That surely you shouldn't be allowed to take Torah for money for Torah Shabbat Sav. So that's the most question. What's the difference between Torah Shabbat Sav and Torah Shabbat Peh? The Gemara answers there is no difference. There is no difference. There's a side issue that comes up on Mikra that you're allowed to take money for. For the actual learning of the Mikra, you're not allowed to take money. That's what the Gemara is going to answer. There's something else. For the learning alone, you're not allowed to take money. No difference. There's something, how do you say, Mikri, incidentally, that comes together with the Mikra that you're allowed to take money for. One is Schar Shimur. Schar Shimur means babysitting. That the kids who are learning Mikra, they're usually babies, or the age that they need Shimur, and the Rebbe is getting paid for babysitting. What does babysitting mean? Interesting.
Yeah.
Rebbe in the Cheder, that the kids here, that's the
You have
rush.
to pay for metapelet, for a babysitter, so now you're saving your money by sending to school. You don't have to pay for child, what do you call it, the kids care or something?
Yeah, Schar Shimur. This is the rush.
You're paying money for that and not for.
That's what you're paying for, right? You're not paying for the Torah that's being taught. You're paying for that the kids are contained in the Cheder walls. Nothing. How long the mikvah l'shamim shelo yelchu b'rechovos u'b'shvakim v'yaziku, that they shouldn't go in the streets and damage.
You shouldn't beat up.
This is many years ago. This is many years ago. That they shouldn't go. That's they shouldn't get damaged and get lost and get beaten up. They shouldn't damage others. And also, they're going to get educated in bad things. They're going to the streets. So who knows where they're going to go? They'll learn bad things. So we have to contain them. So the Rebbe is containing them. He's getting money because he's containing them. I think, okay, I think that it's going to be, what age do you need these babysitters?
Well, you just go to the Chabad, you'll figure it out.
So it could be not only kids in the Cheder, it could be that high school age also needs to be contained. Even bigger. So I said the word baby.
No, it could be today if you're saving them from spiritual damages.
But that thing about
Physical damage.
Also, so
No, but it could be even an adult. You could saving him from going online.
Oh, I see.
and the other reason is, so that's why I take money. So it comes out the whole reason I take money is only because of Schar Shimon, and that's why the one who's Aser Bana, the one who's the Ruven, Shimon, who's that over there? Shimon. Ruven is not allowed to benefit from Shimon. He can't teach Ruven. That's the question. How old is Ruven? So that's what the Gemara is talking about. That it says that you can't teach the one who made the one who's Aser to be Nana. You can't teach him because it's worth money. Why is it worth money? So far was that because of babysitting. Let's see. A different reason. Schar Pisuk time. When you learn Mikra, so there's a truck, there's cantillation notes. And he's teaching him how to do the cantillation notes. It's Pasha to the Gemara. When you teach Mikra, that's how you teach it. It was Pasha. Nowadays, only have a couple of places that teach like that. That's not called Torah. And that's going to be a question in the Gemara coming up. Is that called Torah or not? This Gemara holds that it's not called Torah. That it's not. That it's going to call Lav the Rice. That's not Torah. And therefore, you're not allowed to take money for that. You're not allowed to take Torah for money for Torah. This is not Torah. So why does the Rebbe get paid for? Why does he not take money for? He's not take money for teaching the truck.
What's the Pisuk?
Pisuk Tamim. The Piskei Tamim. The Tamim is the truck. Pisuk is how to divide it. How to divide the truck. The truck are also punctuation notes. So that's what punctuation, cantillation. That's how to read it, and that you're allowed to take money for. Fascinating. So that comes to there's no difference. Mikra is no difference. There's no difference. The only difference is that Mikra happens to have usually with little kids, and they need shimur, and also happens to have cantillation notes that you have to have that they teach also, and that is not Torah, and you're allowed to take money for them. The more is a kasha from our Mishnah. It says in our Mishnah that someone's also bana, he cannot teach Mikra. Why not? Because it's worth money. Why is it worth money? We understand that it's worth money because piece of time it gets money for piece of time for the truck, and it's worth money, and you're saving money, so you're not allowed to do that. The Gemara understands that this Ruvain is an adult. he's not allowed to benefit from Shimon, and Shimon is teaching him Mikra, and he's benefiting money. Why is he benefiting money? Because he takes money. Why does he take money for babysitting? He's not a baby. He's an adult. If he's an adult, he doesn't need.
Wouldn't have to pay money.
There's no money for the actual learning. There's no money. The money is only. It means, are you allowed to take money for teaching an adult Mikra? It says no. You're not allowed to. So that's not worth money. So you should be allowed to benefit. So there's no problem about Isser, the Mudar Hana, because it's not worth money. You're not allowed to teach. You take money only for teaching kids because they're doing babysitting service. But you're not taking money for teaching an adult Mikra. So Reuben, we understood as an adult. So the Gemara gets out of it easily. The katan, the Reuven is a katan. It's not a chanami. If he'd be an adult would be allowed to learn Mikra from the Mudar Hana because it doesn't cost any money. The Mishnahs are saying that if Reuben happens to be a katan who's asked to have benefit from Shimon, so then he's not allowed to teach a Mikra because it's worth money.
A katan who's 13 years old.
No. Why you say that?
12 years old. Otherwise, nedarim isn't going to be shot.
So did he make the net that maybe it's possible the other way? The net could have been made the other way also. That he's not allowed to benefit from Shimon said you're not allowed to benefit from him. And then if you talk about the katan on the velos, you have to stop it. The Gemara says a katan. The Gemara says it's a katan. The Mishnah continues that he has a kid. It talks about that you can't teach him Mikra, but you can teach his son Mikra. If he has a son, it means he's an adult. Even katan name was one. Of the gears of Banupanosa. Ema Sefer, even Katan Ema Sefer, continue reading. Avam Lamed is Banu of Mikra. Katan Rabbanim, if he's a Katan, does he have sons? So it's talking about that this Reuven is a Gadol. So the Gemara is willing to edit the Mishnah to stick in that there's a Katan and a Gadol. Chasim Rachser Bachi Ketani, something's missing, you have to edit it. Lo Yelam Dana Mikra, but Katan. Don't teach him Mikra if Reuven's a Katan. But if he's a Gadol, and Maya Gadol, Malam Dolo, the Ban of Mikra. But if he's a Gadol, then you're allowed to even teach him already. And the children also, the children you're allowed to teach. Because it's if he's a katan, you're not allowed to teach him because he's benefiting the Sahar Shima, costs money. That service costs money. But if he's a gadol, then it's mutter for himself because he doesn't need babysitting service. And you're allowed to teach his son because even though it is worth money, so we said yesterday that it's just the father's obligation to pay for his son's education. But that's only Mabriya Hari. The fact that you're saving me a loss, that's not considered enough. So that's why he's allowed to even the thing which is worth money. You're allowed to do for the son because it's only saving the father money. If you give it to the person himself, you gave him something which is worth money. That's called benefiting. Not because you saved money. I gave you something which is worth money. But if I just saved you from a bill that you shouldn't have to pay a bill, that's not considered a benefit. But the Gemara answered the question by saying that the Mishnah is talking about both in a katan and an adult. When it says you're not allowed to learn Mikra, teach Mikra from, you can't get Mikra from the person you're not a benefit, as only if he's a katan. Then it's worth money. According to this Mandiyam, again, there are two reasons why you're allowed to take money from Mikra. Either because babysitting, and that's only if it's a katan. But you wouldn't be allowed to take money for teaching a gadol Mikra. That Pshat is piece of time that you're allowed to take money for teaching the Torah. And then there's no difference if it's a katan or a gadol.
No,
the piece of time is no difference. If you're allowed to take money for Torah, then you're allowed to take money from a gadol also. There's no difference. But taking money for babysitting only means the baby or the age that still needs supervision. Nisvei. Oh, there's a brisa over here that the Gemara didn't know what it's talking about. Here's the brisa. Make it a part of color because we don't know what it means yet. It says, Tinoko slow koran b'Shabbos, ella shonin b'Rishon. Avol shonin b'Rishon. Children are not allowed, don't read for the first time on Shabbos, but they do Chazorah, and they say Chazorah Rishon means even the first Chazorah they're allowed to do. They're not allowed to, you don't teach them for the first time on Shabbos, but you do review even for the first time, the first Chazorah also. And the Gemara is trying to figure out what it's talking about. What's the problem? What's the issue over here? Why did the children not learn new things on Shabbos?
Shonin means review.
Yeah.
In this case.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was adults are not learning Shabbos, new learnings that are heavy.
Maybe that's to do with the Gemara coming up. But so far the Gemara is taking what it says, and it says that children should not read for the first time on Shabbos, but they do review even the first review. And the Gemara thinks the reason is because it's an issue of Schar Shabbos. That's how the Gemara's initial approach to this brisa is that the teacher is taking money, and you're not allowed to take money for Shabbos services. Services he did on Shabbos.
I'm sorry, when we say that they're Korean,
Koren is Mikra.
okay, they're reviewing, and we're saying they're reviewing through the auspices of the teacher.
Yeah. Everything's a teacher over here. The Gemara thinks everything's a teacher over here.
Okay,
And they're allowed to be
and
taught
so
by
that
the
would be
Rebbe.
Schar Shabbos is us.
Right, and the Gemara thinks that has something to do with Schar Shabbos, that you're not allowed to take money for Shabbos.
So how could they review even? That's the question.
So you're ahead. You're thinking. Well, I mean, but you're faster than the Gemara. You're ahead. You're ahead again.
Well,
The Gemara goes slow. If the issue of money is the Rebbe gets money for a piece of time, so then we understand why they can't read the first time and they could review. Why? Because the first time you learn something, it's piece of time and it's worth money. He gets money for it, and he's going to be getting money for Shabbos service.
and then they already learned
But
it, and there's no.
yeah, as if to say that once they learned it one time, the review is not for the truck. The review they get on the first. The truck they get on the first time.
And now he's only there for babysitting.
And babysitting,
No, he's not.
he doesn't know that reason of babysitting. I think he doesn't say that's the reason why you're getting money. You get money for a piece of time. So you can't teach on Shabbos the time because you get paid for that, and it's Chai Shabbos. If he wants to do it for free, he can do it for free. But if his payment is for a piece of time, and he's going to get paid for Shabbos work that he did. And Chazara is no piece of time. It means the kids know it already from the first time. The Gemara understands that once they say truck the first time, they get it. Which is a chiddush to me. I think it takes a couple of times until you get the truck.
Yeah, so then what's he doing there? I'm with.
He's teaching. He's teaching.
Seems like he's only babysitting them because they.
No, he's teaching. He's teaching the words. The words you have to chazar the words 25 times. Right?
The meaning.
The words. They do the words. The time the Gemara says they get right away.
Oh, I see the Torah, which he's not
The Torah,
getting paid
and that
for.
Torah not getting
That
paid
he's
for.
doing on
So then,
Shabbos.
so that you could do on Shabbos, but it's not, the money's not for that. But if you say the issue is that you're getting paid for babysitting, there's no difference if it's the first time or the 10th time. They're babysitting. Take these words out. Take these words out. I took it out myself, but it's pretty
The
clear.
main Korean did.
Take all this out there. Amai shonen berisha. How come you're allowed to do something? How come you're allowed to do chazara? You're babysitting for the chazara also. There's no difference. The fact that the kids are not going out damaging and learning bad things, there's no difference if it's the first time or the 10th time. So if you say that the problem of getting money is because babysitting, so then the chazara also should be also amai shonen berishon ha'ikas charshim with the Shabbos. So the Gemara says you're wrong, and the whole shot is wrong. There's no problem to get money for teaching on Shabbos. Is it usher to take money for even the piece of time and also? It's how do you say
Allah, right? It's swallowed up.
so what does that
included
mean?
in-
That it's only usher to take Schar Shabbos if you take Schar Shabbos alone.
In the rest of the
But
week too.
if you take a weekly, you take like it's going to be a weekly salary, a monthly salary. So then, even though of course the month is made up of 30 days and the week is made up of 7 days, but that's also what they're on Shabbos. Of course, you're taking money for the job, the weekly job. So since he doesn't get paid only for Shabbos, this Rebbe is teaching during the weekday also. So it's mutter to take money for Shabbos. He'd be allowed to get a salary for the week's or the month's salary, even though it includes Shabbosim, and the price is estimated, is calculated according to Shabbos. That's mutter. But Allah Mishra Show, it's mutter to take money for Shabbos if it's all in a package deal. The Tanya. If someone is hiring a worker, not to do malacha, to watch. To watch things, either the child or a cow or was run. The Mepharshim may have all kind of fancy pshat in what is he doing, but I don't know why I can't learn simple that a babysitter, a cow sitter, a farm sitter. I don't know why you need fancy cases. I didn't look into it, but it seems to watch that field.
To watch the field.
Either Gadol shouldn't come or the deer shouldn't come and eat, and the birds. Whatever he's watching, so Elos Los Chai Shabbos. You don't pay for, you can't pay Chai Shabbos. This is a case we only hired him for that day. The Fikach, in that case where he's getting paid, I'm sorry, he's not getting paid. In Mav Durein Chai Brak Yisran. If there was something would happen to these things, he's not Chai for the fault that he didn't watch well, because it's only a Shom Mechina and he got lost. And the Shom Mechina was part on only if he was Posheya. but otherwise he's not chayiv because he's not getting paid. The word Shabbos here doesn't mean Shabbos. Shabbos here means a week. If he was hired by the week or by the month or by the year or by the 7-year period, then you could include the Shabbos wages. No Shabbos because it's a package deal. In that case, if something happens to him, he's chayiv because he's getting paid for Shabbos also. And anyway, what do you see? That you're allowed to take up law. You're allowed to take up law. So there's no reason why Rebbe shouldn't be able to teach, even if it's Pesach timing. So you're shot in the Brisa doesn't make sense. The Brisa said that you don't teach the kids for the first time on Shabbos, only teach them Chazorah, and you thought you have a pshat because Pesach time is not true because Rebbe gets paid on a package deal. So you don't have pshat either. You have a kasha on me that Shimon should be also everything should be also. You also should be also. It's no, but not, on the contrary, it should be mutter everything because everything is just everything should be mutter because it's havlah. So we need a new pshat in this Brisa. The new reason why the Brisa says that you don't teach the kids for the first time on Shabbos. Why not? Nothing to do with Shabbos. Nothing to do with that. Mishum, the Yifnu, Abbas home, the Yanuke, the Mitzvah de Shabbata, Aramaic, that the fathers of the children should be able to turn to the mitzvah of Shabbos, which Mepharshim say that it means the Suda Shabbos, only Shabbos. They have a Suda on Shabbos, and we don't give the fathers the ability to make the Suda. Why can't they make the Suda if the children are learning in the Cheder? So some Mepharshim say over here, because they wait for the kids to come home, and when they learn new takes longer. The Cheder would be longer if they have to learn new material, and the father's waiting for the kids to come home before he makes the Suda, and we want the father to be able to have a nice Suda Shabbos. Other Mepharshim say because on Shabbos, you enjoy here, the man says, that the fathers, they want this for Shabbos, and they enjoy their children, and if they're going to be learning new, so they're going to tell them go back to Cheder, and they really would want them to stay with them, or the opposite, they'll be in Cheder, and the father's not going to be able to be mishtasheh with the kids. It interferes with the own Shabbos.
The whole Suda, 2 hours, and the rest of the day, they're getting into trouble.
Getting into trouble.
We're not talking
about trouble.
Forget about trouble. 2 hours.
Talking about is there Cheder for the first time learning?
What's the problem? The Suda on Shabbos is only 2 hours, right?
Your Suda is 2 hours. So that's 6 hours.
No, that's Yom Tov, it's Chatzi L'Chem. The Shabbos is not Chatzi L'Chem.
Whatever you're going to say, the one is offering that it interferes with the Suda Shabbos. With the Cheder of the only Shabbos is interfered if they have regular Cheder. So they have Cheder for Chazorah, that's okay. Whatever it is,
Mitzvah to Shabbos means the
mitzvah of Suda Shabbos, the only Shabbos. No, the word mitzvah means mitzvah. What does mitzvah mean? What's the mitzvah of Shabbos? Suda only.
It's not as the halachas.
No, it doesn't interfere with the muktzah. It doesn't interfere with the muktzah.
Teaching the halachas. Don't turn on the light. Do this. It's not.
No. Not about teaching. Talking about the father's Shabbos atmosphere. It's going to interfere with the Shabbos, with the mitzvahs of Shabbos that the father's supposed to do, because maybe you have a different altogether. But this is what the Rishonim say, that mitzvah Shabbos means the Suda, the Oneg, and the Shabbos Seder is interfered if there's going to be regular paying nothing to do, nothing, a side point. Ibo is saying, but another reason why you don't teach the kids the first time on Shabbos just Chazorah, Ibo is saying, because on Shabbos they eat and drink. The kids eat and drink more than usual. The Yakir Aleon Alma, and the world is heavy on that. It means that the person's heavy when he eats and drinks. So they're not able to. This is what Chaim Dov was saying, that it's hard to learn new things on Shabbos. Here it talks about the kids, that the kids, since they eat and drink more than usual, and their head is heavy, the world is heavy upon them. That's not. So the beginning of any kind of change is the beginning of a sickness. Means that when you eat different kinds of foods, better foods, more food, so it's difficult. And the kids have difficulty, so we're not going to trouble them to learn new stuff because it's too difficult. But Chazorah they can handle. And Chaim said applies to adults also maybe. But this is the source where it says it, by kids.
We say the word
Yakir. That's Aramaic for kabed. Heavy. We can stop here. We can go further. We're pretty late already. We could continue a couple of lines if it's good with everybody. Okay, it's pretty easy. Well, the man dama schap piece of time, but that goes why each one doesn't know the other one. There are two reasons. One said because of Trump, one said because of babysitting. What's one reason? The Gemara says because Kasava bonus Mika boy and Shimur. It says the Mishnah girls also. It says that you're allowed to teach somebody's boys and girls. Here the Gemara goes, girls don't need a babysitter. Why do girls not need a babysitter? Because they're home. We're the girls.
Because they're
The
home.
girls at home. So they don't need a babysitter. So Mishnah's mashma that you have to have a heter because they're only the kids, and it's not the person himself. It's only the children of the one who's mother anna. Even if their daughter would be a mother anna herself, she also would be able to because the actual you want to teach the girl mikra, fine. They're not that the Torah teaching is not an issue. It's only the babysitting. She doesn't need a babysitter. She's home anyway. So it must be there's a new reason why you take money for the piece of time, and that what, and that the girls also have. The girls also learn the trap. That when you're teaching the girls mikra, you're going to teach them with the trouble also, and therefore you're allowed to take money. Therefore, it's worth money, and therefore, if it would be the person herself, she wouldn't be allowed to. Only if it's the children, because then it's only mavriya chari. If you hold the other way, that it's for the babysitting, why is like to be using a piece of time? Because a piece of time of the Raisa, who holds that it is considered Torah. It's considered that the piece of time is the Raisa, which means that you have to teach it. If you have to teach it, you're not allowed to take money for it. The only reason you're not take money is you don't have to teach it, but here you do have to teach it with the Raisa. This is a pasuk. That's to highlight the pasuk. The sefer. The sefer Teras Elokim. The forest for some sefer ve'avinu b'mikra. Over there, it's talking about in Nehemiah. It says that they read in the Sefer Torah, the Forosh, explicit, some seichel, something to do about seichel, and they understood the mikra. So the more darshan the pasuk, ve'ikru b'sefer Torah Elokim ze mikra. That was the psukim themselves. They read the psukim. The Forosh is a targum. That means the targum that explains it. It explains it. The some seichel, what does that mean? Elu psukim. Psukim they say means that where each pasuk ends. That's not the regular time. That's just to know where each pasuk ends. The verse. Also, the word pasuk means to stop. Either means Vayavinu b'mikra, that's considered the Havana, because if you have the punctuation, it tells you more of the understanding of the pasuk. So one says that it means piece of timing, some say that it means Masoros. Masoros means where it's a Korean Ksiv or Mali Nechasa, to know how it's written, to know how it's supposed to be written. So one says that there is Daraisa. It means if you hold a piece of timing, that means that you're supposed to do it. It calls that as Daraisa. So then you wouldn't be allowed to take money for it. The Ran says that if you say that piece of time is not a Raisa, he's the one of Darsh's Masoris, that you have to teach. If it has above, it doesn't have above, how it's supposed to be written in Korean Ksiv, and that's going to be tomorrow's sugya. But that's the machlokes. The piece of time is the Raisa. If it's the Raisa, you're not allowed to take money for it. If it's not the Raisa, you are allowed to take money for it. Yes, everybody. Thank you.